Namaste, my name is Shailaja and I welcome you all to the Kundalini Guide YouTube channel. Today I will be talking about Goddess Kali and what she signifies in the Kundalini process. Before I move on to the main topic of Goddess Kali, I would like to clear confusion with regarding to two terms, that is Kali and Kali. Many people who are not familiar with the Indian culture are using these terms interchangeably. Kali is a cycle of time, and the duration of this time is 4,32,000 years. So there are four cycles of time in as per Hinduism. Kali Yuga is that part of time where dark forces are more prevalent, or the number of virtuous people is far outnumbered by those who want to do anything for their selfish interests. So this should not be confused with Goddess Kali. Goddess Kali has nothing to do with Kali Yuga. They are two separate things. Kali. Both Kali and Kali are spelled the same way. Kali represents a time frame, whereas Kali is beyond time and space. She is the darkness from which the universe has evolved. She was there before the universe has evolved, and she will be there after the universe gets dissolved. The closest thing I can think of in the universe which can represent Goddess Kali is the black hole. The black hole, it takes in everything. Everything gets sucked into it. Even light cannot escape it. And then it gets transmuted, and then it gets released as a new creation. So she is the creator, she is the sustainer, and she is the destroyer. And when I say destroyer, it does not mean that she goes around killing things or destroying things. It simply means that she transforms things. She is a supreme divine feminine form. She is a universal mother. She is beyond forms. She is beyond time and space. Time, space, and all material things come from her. She is the dynamic aspect of the universe. There are no words in language that can describe her splendor. No matter how much I talk about her or how much I try to describe her, I may not have even scratched the surface of this divine power. The word Kali comes from the root word Kal in Sanskrit language. Kal means time. She is beyond time. She is a feminine aspect of time. And there's one more word which means dark complexioned. In Hindi, Kali means the dark complexioned woman. She has a midnight blue color, and the color represents blackness absorbs everything. It absorbs and dissolves everything in the universe. So the color of her body stands for, it represents her quality where she can dissolve and absorb everything that is there in the universe. She is prayed to in many other forms like Parvati, Shakti, Durga. Those forms do not look as aggressive as this form looks. I'll make an attempt to describe her appearance. You can see that there's a golden halo around her head, which means that this is a divine being. She has three eyes. The three eyes represent the past, present, and future, or the sun, moon, and fire. Her hair is open and unbridled because she is beyond conventions of the society. She is a woman who has given up the society's conventions. She lives on the fringes of the society. That is why the graveyard is her abode. She stays in the graveyard. All qualities that are there in the universe come from her. There are three kinds of qualities. Sattva is one quality, which means purity. Rajas is another quality, which means activity. And the third quality is tamas, which means inertia or destruction. So all three qualities come from her and they are represented in her appearance. The sattva is the whiteness of her teeth. The rajas is the red tongue that is rolled out. And the tamas is the redness of her eyes where she looks intoxicated. She is intoxicated because she does not live by the society's conventions or standards. You will see her naked because there is no robe or no cloth in this universe which can cover her being. She is beyond shame. The universe is her cloth. She is the divine mother of all. Her hair is left loose and it is unbridled. In India, generally, you will say women tying up their hair. They don't leave them loose. In earlier days, it was considered wrong. But here you will see her hair totally left loose. It's like, I don't care attitude. So she has gone beyond the society's conventions of what is good and bad because she is beyond good and bad. She is beyond duality. Everything is tolerated by her. This form is in total contrast to what God forms you will see in other cultures. Generally, God looks very kind or forgiving or beautiful, but here she defies all conventions on how God should look like. She looks terrible, terrifying. If you see her ornaments are not the typical ornaments an Indian woman wears. They have a masculine touch to it. It simply means that even uh, she has integrated her own inner masculine also. She wears earrings of children. They look like children because she likes the innocence of a child. And when she sees that a person has the childlike innocence in that person, if she senses it, that person comes close to her heart. She has four hands, and the four hands represent the four directions. You will see her holding a sword in the top right hand, and she uses this to sever the heads of ignorance. You will see a severed head in her left top hand, and the blood is getting collected in a bowl which is held in the lower hand. So it simply means that she severs the head of ignorance with the sword of knowledge. The blood here represents our genetic lineage. It represents our attachments. It represents our emotions. It represents everything an ignorant person will get involved when he falls into this illusion on earth. So she simply severs the ego. She takes away the blood of ignorance from the severed head. And she does this by using the knowledge that she imparts to her devotees while they are in the Kundalini awakening process. The right lower hand is the hand that offers boons and protection to the devotees. I've earlier mentioned that she lives in the burial ground. She lives in the burial ground because it is a place where the five elements are dissolved. Everything that comes to life gets dissolved. So, because she plays the role in dissolution, burial ground is a place. Heart is also a place where everything dissolves. So, when somebody is in the Kundalini awakening process, they will experience burn in the heart, or the heart gets hot. And when the heart gets hot, Kali comes to reside in it. In the neck, you will see the mundamala or the garland of heads. These garland of heads, they represent the Sanskrit alphabets. They're approximately 15 number. So Kali is Shabda Brahma, or she is the source of all sounds that emanate in the universe. Ultimate reality recognized as sound and primal sound of syllable Om. The Sanskrit language, every syllable has an energetic vibration attached to it, and the language comes from her. And we have these syllables imprinted on the chakras, the 7 chakras that are there within our body. And that is why we use mantras, and when we chant mantras, the chakras vibrate, the corresponding chakra will vibrate. Sanskrit is vibratory language. You will see severed hands around her waist. These hands represent our actions or karmas. So when somebody is on the path of spiritual growth, at one point in time they will understand that they are not the doer of their actions, that all actions do not come from them. Actions do not bind them or others. When a person reaches this state of thought process, he is no longer bound by the actions which are done by him. And thus, she is standing with one leg on top of her consort, who is Lord Shiva. He represents the absolute reality, the unchanging aspect of the universe. Whereas Kali represents the dynamic aspect of the universe. Now, while being in the Kundalini awakening process, it is common to have dreams about Kali. She will come to you in dream states, in altered states of consciousness, in visions, and she will come there, and then she will cut your head off. She might drink your blood. She might chop you into pieces. But when she is doing all this, she is merely taking away the ego. She is dissolving your ego so that you can become a divine being. The ways of Goddess Kali look violent, but they are done for your ultimate good. The Goddess Kali looks terrifying to the ego, because the ego knows that when it comes face to face with Kali, it will have to fade away. It loses hold over the person. Now the person is guided more by the spirit. And that is why the ego, when it fears, the person takes on the fear experienced by the ego, and they think that they are terrified of Kali. But once the ego is removed or dissolved, then we realize that she is not the terrifying mother, rather she is a loving, nurturing mother, and she appears terrifying to those people who are ignorant or who are in nescience. Here in this picture, I would like to illustrate something. An average person, he is always swinging like a pendulum. He swings back into his past and he swings forward into his future. The past comprises of his past lifetime, uh, the impressions of the past lifetimes, his family, the society, the cultural conditioning, social conditioning, the memories, the relationships, the identities and labels he's taken on, and the experiences, the trauma, the pain, his desires, everything comprise of the past. And the future is how he projects himself into the future. It could be his fears, his anxieties, his hopes, his expectations, his dreams. And the biggest fear a person can experience is the fear of the unknown or the fear of death. So, in this way, what happens is this person's awareness gets scattered over a long period of time. It gets scattered in the past because he's spending a lot of time in the past, and then part of it gets scattered in the future because he's worried about the future. And he's rarely present. It is only maybe when he's having a good time, maybe watching a good movie, or when he's doing some work seriously, that is when he is, or meditating most probably, that is when he is present in the moment or in the present situation. Otherwise, his mind is swinging like a pendulum. So his energy, his awareness gets spread over the a long time frame. And when this happens, he is deprived, or his spiritual energy gets, or spiritual integrity gets depleted. And because his spiritual integrity gets depleted, he cannot evolve, his consciousness cannot evolve. So first thing that has to happen is all these cords of attachments which he has in the past, or the cords of attachments he has formed for the future, they should all be severed. Let me go back to the example of Kali. You can see the sword in her hand. The sword in her hand is the sword of knowledge. She severs all attachments, all cords that a earthly being has, so that he can take back his power. He can take back all that awareness which he has invested in all mundane activities, and which is preventing him from growing spiritually. So all that power is reclaimed. It is reclaimed so that he can grow spiritually and he can move up in the spiritual ladder. When all cords of attachments are removed, the person grows spiritually. He becomes a more authentic person. He now operates from his inner true self. He is no longer influenced by his past, or he does not do an action because he worries for the future or out of fear for the future. He has no motives. Because of that, living in the present moment becomes easier. You start enjoying life as it is. And you become a free soul. Nothing binds you anymore. And with this new freedom, you become more creative. You learn more, you grow more, you become a better human being. This is what Kali does to a person when she severs all the ties that tie him down into a lower level of egoic existence. When Kali enters the life of a person, the sense of a discernment increases. He will be able to discern the truth from the untruth. And how is this? I'll give you a small example. On earth, generally, when people have relationships, a good, very good, healthy relationship, they like each other maybe because they meet their expectations, or they like the way they're being treated, or when they like the together time. They've invested a lot in that relationship, and the relationship makes them look good or feel good for various reasons. They see a future together. So when you ask a normal couple, they might say that we are madly in love with each other, nothing can change it. But imagine if one of the partner cheats, then what will happen? The entire love that was based on all these experiences, all these uh, thought processes collapses. It collapses because even the best relationship on earth is based on conditions. There are certain conditions that the trust should not be broke, that you should be there for the person when the person needs you, then the person should not uh, try to steal from you. There are many other conditions which are unspoken but they exist in the relationship. So in even the most healthiest relationships on earth are based on certain conditions. There's no relationship without conditions. Even the mother's love, the most purest form of love that you will see on earth, that is also conditional. That is, that person should be her son or her daughter. Otherwise, that woman will not experience any love for the child. It is only If the child is born from her, she will experience that love. So even this love is based on conditions, but it is still the purest form of love that you can find on earth. So a person, when he reaches this stage, is able to discern the falsity of the many a lot of drama that is there in the relationships, or is able to easily make out the motives of people. He knows what is real and what is unreal. He knows what to expect and what not to expect. So his level of awareness is much higher in life. So he's not disappointed in life. He is a dispassionate, detached person. So, and because he is already motive free, generally his chances of getting hurt or chances of getting into that emotional anger or control issues or insecurity issues is is generally absent. So this person, he speaks from a deep serenity, a deep inner serenity, and he acts from that serenity. So most of his actions or his life is in general peaceful because he is able to see through a lot of the drama that happens in a person's life. Generally, in religions, fear of God is instilled in people, the concept of hell and heaven. So when you come to Kali, this all goes for a toss. Here, a person has to be fearless. He should not even fear Kali. So Kali will take you from being a fearful person and turn you into a fearless person. A fearful person is a person who's living within limitations. But once you've crossed over those limitations, those mental barriers, those the your inner unresolved issues, they all surface as fears. Once you have worked through all those fears, you become fearless. You're not bothered about anything. You will see Carly sitting in the uh, burial ground, and she has the snakes and the jackal as her companions. And a person who's fearless must be able to go and sit along with her in the burial ground. That is the level of fearlessness that she can put in a person. Apart from fear, even disgust. People are disgusted with a lot of things. For example, the sight of uh, flesh, torn flesh, the sight of burning dead bodies, the smells. This can sort of stir up a lot of disgust in a person. So even this is not correct because a person, if he finds something beautiful, the other opposite aspect of that is disgust. So they are two sides of the same coin. So when a person gives up the idea of beautiful or the pleasant things in life, he is automatically giving up the concept of being disgusted by bad things in life. So he reaches a mind frame of neutrality. He will not uh, uh, get too attracted to very beautiful things, and he will not feel too disgusted when he sees any bad scenes or any ugly situations. He develops that balance, inner balance, and this is that brings out more truth within that person because it makes him more dispassionate towards the external situations. Kali brings in real knowledge, and the more initially the ego finds it very difficult to cope. When Kali enters the life, it cries, it fears, it laments. But once the major obstacle of the major part of the ego is dissolved, you will start really appreciating her presence in your life. She will start getting in a lot of knowledge from the other realms, higher knowledge, the knowledge coming from the unconscious mind or the Vijnanamaya Kosha as it is called in the Indian traditions. You will open up to different dimensions, different realities, higher knowledges, symbols. You will hear the sounds of the universe. You will even be receiving a lot of light language codes and other things which will help you evolve further in this spiritual process. Divine love. The mother's love is incomparable. You cannot compare it with anything that is there on earth. She will fill every cell of your body with her love. Every cell in your body will dance out of ecstasy, out of love for her. And this happens when the person has entered his bliss body. The cerebrospinal fluid that flows, it drips down and it creates immense bliss in the body. This is a state of savikalpa samadhi where a person is experiencing a lot of pleasurable sensations. And this is what happens when the light and love of the goddess enters your body. The goddess, she shows you the path to surrender. Surrendering, in my personal experience, I found surrendering the most difficult thing to do, because when you're surrendering to the God, it does not mean that you're bowing in front of the God. Rather, it simply means that you have made peace with the past and you do not care what happens in the future, and you live as a mere witness to the happenings of your life. You will not get emotional, or you will not feel like a victim, or you will not get into those lower egoic trappings when you're dealing with daily life situations. Anything that happens outside is accepted by you. Everything good, everything bad, everything beautiful, everything ugly. Nothing stirs up any fear or disgust or the egoic happiness or the arrogance. Nothing comes out from you, because you're living in total surrender to the external, because the goddess exists in the external reality as Maya. So when you are living in surrender to Maya, you have no control issues, you have no self-worth issues. You just play along with the game of Maya, because now you're not seeing a situation from a microscopic level. You're zooming out. You are zooming out and you are able to see why something happens in a situation, or why something happens in life, and from a larger perspective. And the larger perspective brings in an understanding and acceptance of even the worst possible scenario you can experience in the present time. So this is the biggest blessing that the goddess can deliver to you. Next is protection and liberation. Protection. If you see a very kind mother who looks very loving, I don't think any person who wants to attack you will fear your mother. But if you have a mother like Kali standing behind you, no person will dare to come near you or attack you, because for them she is a devil. For you, she is your nurturing mother. She will protect you. She will put her hair. I had dreams where the mother was putting all her hair all over me, and she was protecting me uh, inside her hair. And that was when I was being attacked by some negative energies, and I was so happy getting covered by her hair and holding her waist. That was the happiest moments I've experienced in my vision states. And she provides liberation from the cycles of life and death, liberation from ignorance, liberation from the lower egoic qualities. The Divine Mother Kali. Behind this terrifying figure is a very loving, nurturing, protective mother, the goddess Kali. May we all be blessed by her.